I'm Father Michael Stalla. I am the pastor of St. Cosmas and Damian Parish in Twinsburg, and I am also the spiritual director for Hope's Garden. And today we're going to talk about how anchor experiences can get us through the storm. St. Francis de Sales has this wonderful image. He had a dream, and he actually had this painted later. And it was this idea that the many churches were attacking the great church, and that they were in a harbor and the ship is being bounced around. And yet they anchored themselves to the Virgin Mary and to the Eucharist. And it was almost like two pillars, and that kept them safe in the harbor. One of the anchors that I want to give to you, and I call it an anchor experience, is those moments in your life when you're absolutely certain that God intervened, that God gave you a message, that you had a series of events that there is no doubt in your mind that was God. I have a lot of anchor experiences. Some people have very few anchor experiences. If you really look, we all got one. We all at least have this one experience that when everything else is said and done, I can't deny that that happened. That had to be God's intervention. I remember my brother Matt having this wonderful witness, and he was talking about how everything was going wrong in his life. He was getting really ticked off at the Lord. And he was outside and he looks up at the night sky and he says, "Lord, if you're even listening to me, why don't you give me a sign?" And all of a sudden, there were a bunch of shooting stars. He was a little freaked out. He was, I didn't mean to upset you. I need a little reassurance at that moment. That's one of his anchor moments. That happened. He can't deny it. Now you could say, well, shooting stars are kind of a natural phenomenon. It's the timing that was ridiculous, that it happened right when he needed it to happen. And this is very common in the Bible. There's lots of things that miraculously happen, and people can find some stretch of the imagination that it is just a natural event. However, it's the timing. It happens exactly when it needs to happen. And so a lot of times our anchor experiences, something happens in my life. Either I heard a deep voice within me, a thought popped into my head that it was just out of the blue, that was the right decision or the right answer, the right thing to tell someone. Or sometimes just a series of things happen that was just, you were right there at the right time. My brother John has this great story how he was driving in Texas. There was terrible storms. He wanted to take a flight, but unfortunately, the storms prevented it. So he ends up driving from one side of Texas to the other side of Texas in this terrible storm. He thought, I'll just stay with the truck in front of me, and all he could see is the headlights, the brake lights. And then he's driving right behind. That's all he could see is that. Well, all of a sudden the truck pulls over. And he says, what am I going to do? Keep going? I mean, I can't see anything. The storm, the rain, it's just so heavy. And he decided the prudent thing to do would be to go to the side of the road along with the truck and wait it out a little bit. With that, he sees the truck driver get out of the car. He starts looking on the side of the road. My brother gets up, opens car door, goes out there and says, what's going on? He notices there's a car that had flipped over and off the side of the road. And standing in the road, he thought it was a tumbleweed, was this little girl. And she was covered in blood. He gave a quick look at her. It was superficial. He picked her up and went down to where the car had flipped. There was a panicked woman running around screaming, "Where's my daughter? Where's my daughter?" And my brother brought her over. My brother realized if he didn't pull over with that truck, he would have hit the little girl. As he hands the little girl to the woman, she is so relieved, she's crying, and she says, "Are you an angel?" And my brother said, "Today I am." You see, things like that happen. And when they happen, you grab onto that. That is your anchor experience. And when there are moments of doubt, and there are always doubt, this comes with faith. If you don't have doubt, I don't think you understand what faith is. Faith has doubt. Doubt is not bad. Apathy is bad. Doubt is just a recognition that I don't have the answers. And sometimes I think I might got it wrong. And at that moment, you go back and you remember that anchor experience. And where I could say coincidence, maybe yes, maybe no, maybe my imagination, maybe fairy tales people told me. But when I go back to that anchor experience, whatever happened in my life, I can't deny that. That really happened. And it reminds you that there is a God who cares about you. So when you're going through the storms of life, those are the moments doubt starts to creep in. Maybe this whole thing is just the way I comfort myself. Maybe this whole religion, maybe all these prayers, maybe all this devotions is just the way I make it through the tough days. Maybe it's all just make-believe, a story we tell children. And you're right. Maybe it is. Except for that anchor experience. Once I go back to one of those memories, the doubt disappears. I can't deny that that happened. What kind of scientist would throw out the evidence in order to prove his hypothesis? So you can't throw out the anchor experiences that really happened, and you know it. And if I hold on to that anchor experience, then it follows that the faith is real. And it gets you through the storm. God will never abandon you. That's not a fairy tale. You know it. Remember those moments. And you have found safe harbor.